How you doing today, everyone? And thanks for joining me. Watchdisplay here. I have another review for you today. It is the Rolex Submariner 116613 LB, aka the Blusey. Quick wrist shot. I got the Manta Triumph on right now. I just recently took it off the bracelet. I love the bracelet, but I've been doing a lot of studying and note taking or whatnot, and I didn't want to do too much damage on the bracelet first couple days that I got it. So I did take it off the bracelet just while I was doing some office type work so I could keep it fresh, and I got it on a shell Cordovan strap right now, which I think just looks amazing. Check out the review. I'll put a link in the description to that Manta Triumph wash, and I'll be doing more of an in-depth review once I have some more wrist time with it. But to the star of the show, we do, as I said, the Rolex Submariner 116613 LB, and this is the sunburst dial. I'll give it a little bit of natural lighting over there just so you can see how well this dial is actually executed. And they do also make this, this is a 2017 variant. Keep in mind I got this one brand new, full set with the stickers completely intact and everything. You do see some superficial scratches, but I do wear this. I travel with this watch a lot. I'm not one of those guys that keep my high-end watches off of planes and traveling. I will wear this bad boy pretty much everywhere, including sometimes to school. But they do make this in what they call the Smurf dial too. It's been discontinued. They no longer make it. Some people claim that it's going to be worth a lot more money just because it was made for a short amount of time, and I kind of, that probably will be true in a certain point in time, but I personally just don't really care for the Smurf unless it's on the solid white gold Submariner. I just really like the sunburst look with the two-tone gold, and then like the kind of gold writing on the dial and the gold markers. It just looks amazing. So I'll be honest, I have a slight bone to pick with Rolex. I've said it before, I wasn't a huge fan of how thick the new supercase lugs are. I do have a 6 3/4 inch wrist, kind of a round, I guess more of an oval with a flat top. So it's not that the issue of the watch being too big on me. A lot of people say they can't even wear the supercase. This fits totally fine on my wrist. It's not too big, and I'm not a big fan of big watches. But what I wasn't a fan of, and I had the ceramic GMT Master 2 also, and kind of one of the reasons why I got rid of it was the thickness of the lugs. For a while, it really kind of bugged me when they first started coming out with these, and it actually kind of deterred me from buying them. But the more modern Rolexes that I've acquired, or actually I should restate that, the more modern Rolexes I have been blessed to acquire, I have gotten very, very picky in terms of the bracelets. So, you know, I have had the GMT Master 2, the pre-ceramic also, with the Coke, I'm sorry, with the Pepsi bezel. And I've had some pre-ceramic Submariners too. And there's just something, I've also had the 40 mil Rolex Explorer 2. And I just don't care for the older bracelets anymore of Rolex. You know, and I'm not knocking that. So, I mean, there's going to be plenty of people that are going to comment below saying, you know, the Rolex bracelets, the older ones, they have so much charm to them. I don't see the charm. I mean, I understand the charm. I can understand why someone would say charm. But for me, it just doesn't work. When I'm spending that kind of money, because these have really significantly risen in the past, or rose in the past couple, actually past year, that you can get a lot of the more modern ceramic variants for about the same price. And I really do like this glidelock clasp also. But overall, I just like the entire aesthetics of this watch. It is a hefty two-tone watch. Many people ask me why I sold my Datejust 41, the two-tone on Jubilee, why I sold that. I had the black dial, small sticks, why I sold that for this. And which one do I like more? And I'm going to be honest with you, this is my favorite Rolex that I've owned to date. I like everything about the watch. The two-tone kind of makes me look away from the lugs being so thick, and the overall heft of the watch. I mean, this is the heaviest two-tone watch that I've ever owned. It is a very, very hefty watch. And it's the awesome thing about it is what I love, and I keep going back to Rolex. I'm not going to knock Omega, but the reason I keep deterring away from Omega and their new movement, the 8500 series movement, is amazing. It's an amazing movement. It's a great taking great strides in technology to improve the competition in terms of movement. But at the end of the day, when you can get dive watches this thin, and the Daytona, for instance, I had that also. When you can get a chronograph that thin, and Omega's three-handers are 5-6 millimeters thicker, it just doesn't make sense to me. So I've kind of deterred away from Omega, and I'm not knocking the brand. I still absolutely love them. I'm just going to wait for a while until they either update the movement or come out with a movement that's a bit thinner, because I did have the most recent Globemaster, and it was a beautiful watch. It just was a bit too thick for me. You can turn back, and I had some videos of that in the past. But back to this one. What I really love about this watch, as I mentioned, was the heft, the just the build quality in general. I mean, it is just a solid watch. I like the ceramic, and I was actually getting to the point where I was starting to like aluminum bezels inserts a lot better. Just kind of that vintage charm, as we were mentioning in the bracelet, and I kind of felt that with the inserts. But as anybody's noticed or watched the market lately, for one, it's almost impossible to get one of these from a store right now, brand new. Of course, if you do, getting a discount is next to impossible. So please check the date on this video when it was posted, because things do change. I don't want a bunch of people commenting, oh, you can get them everywhere now. And right now, currently in January of 2018, they're very hard to come by, and the prices, even secondhand, are close to retail, if you can even find a good example. So yeah, it's just an amazing watch. I can't really sit here and say it's better than any certain watch. I think for me, it's about the way it makes me feel. It's a flashy watch. It definitely is not low key by any means, and I think that's what I like. Eventually, the only thing that I think I would want to get rid of this for is the exact watch, but in solid gold. And I don't get, so this is probably one of the most popular two-tone Rolexes. I wouldn't say most popular, because probably the Datejust, the older vintage ones are, but in terms of people who collect and they're steel-only collectors, a lot of times if they have one single two-tone watch in their collection, it's usually this one right here. And it's just a beautiful iteration of the Submariner that's dressing it up a bit. It gives it kind of a dressy, classy look. And it is in your face. It's definitely an in-your-face watch. I love gold. I got into watches through jewelry. So I've always loved gold. I wear gold. I wear gold necklaces, gold chains. It's just something that I've always done. Not to say that I won't wear an all-steel watch. I still love all-steel watches. And I also have the Zenith here. I kind of have the Zenith in here as a size comparison. So a lot of people say how big the supercase is. And this Zenith is a 40 mil. And you can see the size comparison. I mean, I think the biggest thing about the supercase is the way the end links. And a lot of people don't, I hear a lot of people just now starting to talk about lug to lug. Like they look past like the 40 mil from diagonal, and they start looking at lug to lug. And not only do you have to look at lug to lug, it's very, very significant in the way it's going to fit on your wrist. You also have to look at the end links and the way that they protrude. And if you notice this here, it might be hard to see from the camera, but you can already see those end links protrude about another 2 or 3 millimeters past the ends of the lugs. So this actually has a lot more wrist presence than what its lug to lug portrays. Just trying to give people a little bit of information. because I've seen so many people like, oh, how, you know, it's a 42. I can definitely wear it. Or that's kind of how the turtle, for instance, the Seiko turtle, how even though at 44 or 45, whatever it is, that's how like you can still wear it. It's got a 46 millimeter lug to lug. This Zenith has a 48, and I tend to try to do anything under a 50. This is a 50, but with the end links, so it's right on that. And when you wear it on the wrist, I'll give you guys a quick wrist shot. I got one scratch right there where the clasp meets. I don't know how I got it, but it kind of irks me. Of course, there's going to be some fingerprints. I haven't washed this watch in a while. But you can see the awesome glidelock, which is another reason why I really love the Submariner over a lot of other models. You get the glidelock. It's probably, in my opinion, my most favorite. I used to not really care for it too much for how big this, and I normally wear this on my left wrist, but got the Manta on right now. But I used to not care for how big the clasp was in terms of taking like the wrist presence on the underside, but I actually really love it now, and I really love the glidelock in general. But you can see 6 3/4. The end links do go. The end links, now not the lugs, but the end links do go right almost to the edge. I mean, I still got like maybe 2 millimeters on each side, so a total of 4 millimeters. But I mean, it does give you some really big wrist presence, and it's just a phenomenal watch. I just really love it. What do you guys think about this? I had a whole bunch of people asking me on Instagram, you know, to do a review on this watch, and there's not really, I mean, everyone knows the Blusey, everyone knows the Submariner, so I don't want to sit here and just gawk off specs. I mean, those can be looked at online. I'm just trying to give you kind of an overall, I mean, that class feels like a bank vault. But you can see how well executed that dial is. Look at the sunburst. And any of the smudges on this part of the bracelet, those are smudges. They're not scratches. The only scratches I really have on this watch are on this gold portion right here. I don't even have scratches on the actual brushed portions yet. But you'll notice even the detail in the bezel, I don't know if you're going to be able to pick it up on the video, but even the detail on the coin edge, it is phenomenal at a macro level. I mean, it's just superb. And the detail on the crown. And a lot of people say the Rolex is overpriced, and I get it. They're expensive. But it's not just a brand for me. Like, I have Manta, which is a brand new kind of watch company. I get the feeling of quality. Look at those chamfers. I mean, it is stupid. It is amazing for the price point. It's not all about the brand, but I get the feeling of how much I paid for this watch. And it feels what I paid for it. There's a few watches out there, I don't want to name some, but you know, these are very, very popular. But I pay for them, and they're amazing watches, but I get more of a tool watch feel, and I get it. Some of these watches are made to be tool watches, but let's be honest. Who actually goes and legit buys a Submariner now to dive in? And like literally like just beats it to death diving in it. There's very few people. People wear them to the business now. They wear them, you know, all around. But you know, I think it's an amazing watch. I probably will buy from the same company that makes Manta Everest. I had some straps from them, and I can't seem to find them. I had them packed away when I moved, and I can't seem to find them. They might still be up in Cleveland or packed away from before we moved to Florida. But if you have any questions about the watch, I mean, I can't really go into a whole lot of detail. It's the most modern variant that you can physically get from Rolex. As I mentioned, it's a 2017, but it's just a superb watch, and it's like my weekend watch. I wear this watch. I mean, I have worn it to school during the week, but more commonly I wear the Zenith now. And I'll give you a quick little look at that bad boy. And this is on a Berinia handmade strap from one of my buddies on Instagram. But here is the Zenith. Super thin. I was going to sell this one, but I decided not to. It's just too much bang for the buck. And the market's a little rough right now, secondhand, for Zenith anyways. It's crazy good for Rolex right now. But I decided for the price and to get a GMT function watch at less than 9 millimeters, that's fully in-house, couldn't pass it up. And then one more time, the Manta. Look at the detail on that bad boy. And guys, check my Instagram out at Watchdisplay. If you have any certain watches, I'll probably have the mini turtle here soon. Did a little group with Mr. Random Rob in the Facebook group. I am logged out of social media at the moment, just trying to do a little bit of a break from it. But Random Rob, we did like a little collection where we all kind of threw up some money, and we're gonna pass the small turtle around. So pretty soon I'll have the actual turtle, and I'll do a small review on that, and hopefully do some more reviews here soon. Thanks for joining me. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them, in the comments and tell me, do you like the Blusey? I'm sure there's going to be some people that just flat out think that two-tone watches are ugly. And one thing I would like to clear up: I've heard people say, "Oh, you buy this because you can't afford a solid gold sub." And for one, right now, honestly, I can't physically afford a solid gold sub unless I sold multiple pieces, which I could certainly afford a solid gold sub. But the thing is, as a student, do I want a $22,000 watch on my wrist? No. It's more about practicality and lifestyle. Maybe once I'm done and I'm, working out in the field in medicine, maybe I will want a solid gold Submariner. But right now, as a student, I'm happy enough to have the two-tone, and let me work hard, and I'll get the gold when the time comes. I think that a lot of people just assume that since someone has a two-tone watch, they can't afford a solid gold watch. Let's not go there. That's not for me anyways. I mean, it could be true for some, but let's not stereotype. And if you dislike gold watches in general or two-tone watches, that's the amazing thing about watches. There's so many watches out here for us to collect, and just don't, just cool. You don't like it. There's just a little bit. It's a little dirty in the grooves, but here's just a little bit better shot of just how amazing that coin edge is, and how putting the solid gold into these numbers are actually filled with solid gold. Well, not solid gold, 18 karat gold.